Hey guys, welcome back to the show, and it's that time of year again. The time when there's a lot of talk about monsters. Of course, some are more popular than others, but how about a movie that features two of them? It's The Werewolf versus Vampire Woman. It's a matchup that is sure to produce some interesting results. The poster for this movie recommends that you see it with someone you hate, and I'm really not sure why. Is it saying that because the person I hate will have to suffer through watching it? Well, if that's the case, why would I want to suffer as well? And also, I just think that would be kind of hard to arrange, you know? If I invite the person that I hate to come watch a movie with me, I don't think they're going to accept that invitation, because I assume they hate me too. It stars and was written by Paul Naschy, a Spanish actor who wrote, directed, and starred in several movies over the course of his life. And when I say several, I mean several. Now, this movie was part of a long-running series of werewolf movies where Paul Naschy plays a character named Waldemar Daninsky. Following the events of Fury of the Wolfman, which ended with Waldemar being shot with silver bullets, this movie starts with two doctors going to do an autopsy on him in the middle of the night. According to them, maybe nighttime is different where they are, I don't know.
The inspector might at least have waited until morning. I mean, a job like this in the middle of the night?
So they're like, hey, somebody smeared some crap on his chest. Oh wait, that's a scar. It's the mark of the werewolf. Well, let's gut him like a fish and see what's going on inside. They remove the silver bullets, and it just so happens that it's a full moon, which means that their post-autopsy smoke is about to be rudely interrupted. And look, maybe his reaction was a bit extra, but hey, if it was me, if I was dead and resting peacefully, I'd be pretty pissed off too if somebody cut my chest open and then had the nerve to light up a cigarette. You know, it's almost like you're trying to ensure that all that secondhand smoke gets into my lungs. So the werewolf is going on a rampage now, biting people, knocking stuff over, drinking blood, spitting. It's like tailgating at a Bills game, just not as crazy. Anyways, now we're in a bar. And the star of this scene, for me, is this guy. Because this guy dances to the beat of his own drum. Seriously, this guy knows how to enjoy life.
How are you getting along with that essay you're writing? It should be finished by now.
Hungarian countess who lived in the 11th century.
Now, I don't know what music they told the extras to pretend that they were dancing to, or if they even had music playing while they were filming because they were just going to dub it all over anyways, but for some reason, the music in the English version is different than the music in the Spanish version.
How are you getting along with that essay you're writing? It should be finished by now.
¿Qué tal van tus estudios para terminar la tesis? Ya debe faltarte poco, ¿verdad?
Anyways, this is Elvira, and she's a student writing an essay about this Countess Vendessa who liked to worship Satan, practice black magic, drink the blood of virgins, have people murdered, you know, typical weekend activities. The difference is that she did this stuff all the time. So legend grew that she was a vampire, and her lover impaled her with a silver cross. Apparently, she was buried in a hidden location, but Elvira says she and her friend Genevieve have found an old document showing the exact place of her tomb. And how did they get a hold of this old document? You never find out, but who cares? It doesn't matter. Any time spent explaining that is time taken away from vampire werewolf action. And that's why we're all here, right?
I want you to think seriously about me. This will be the main subject of all our conversations. Okay?
And you know what? I actually appreciate that, because he's being upfront and honest about his narcissism. And that way, you can tell right off the bat that this person's an asshole, and then you can just turn around and walk away. And, you know, drag a fart behind that they'll probably walk into. That's always satisfying. So the next day, they go out driving to find this corpse. This is what college students used to do for fun on the weekends back in the 70s. And back then, it was purely for the research instead of the bragging rights, you know, like it is today. Because in the 70s, there was no social media to show off what you had exhumed. So after driving around for a while with no luck finding the tomb, they see this old building and they stop so that Elvira can bang on the door and maybe someone will help them find this old bag of bones. But it looks like this place is abandoned. Then a spider jumps down on her hand and she freaks out. I like how the doll hung upside down helped her chill out. I mean, how does that not make this place even more creepy?
Who?
Good evening.
Yes, good evening. But is it? Again, this movie keeps telling us that it's later than it looks. This is like the middle of the day. Anyways, they meet Waldemar, and he's like, yeah, that village that you're looking for is actually really far away. So they ask if they can stay at his house for the night, which seems like a really good idea. I mean, yes, you just met this man, and he was out here wandering around, exploring these ruins, but that's not that weird. I mean, it's weird, but is it that weird? And there's the question for the comments section. Is it that weird that you're not gonna stay at his house for the weekend? You know? I'm interested to see this. I want to know how picky my audience is. So he's like, why don't you stay at my house? My handyman has a small car, and he can take you into the village to get some gas tomorrow. And also, my house has no phone and no electricity. And they're like, sure, there's nothing concerning about that. So they all have quite the nice dinner, and Elvira tells him that they are looking for a dead witch. And he's like, oh crap, I think I dated her. Then suddenly, there's thunder and a strange image of a woman.
Are you coming, Genevieve?
Yes.
Oh, I guess he's just going to clean this all up by himself. I mean, you're getting free room and board for the weekend. I think the least you could do is carry your own plate to the sink. And yes, I understand you saw something scary, but you know what's scarier? Being a bad house guest.
Do I hate cold water? Tomorrow I'm gonna tell our host.
Oh, I see. We're just gonna keep crapping on this guy. You know, you requested to stay here and he warned you ahead of time. No phone, no electricity. However, I will say no hot water would suck, especially right before bed. You know, sometimes you take a hot shower right before bed and you get in the fresh sheets and it's just the greatest. But at least there's plenty of candles around. Magic candles, apparently. I mean, there's only one in here and it's lighting up the whole room. It's even providing light from above somehow.
This man has been lying to us all the time. There are strange things here. Have you noticed how the table was set? Only a woman has that touch.
Oh, well, excuse him. Maybe he was just trying to be a good host. Maybe he's been setting tables like that his whole life. I don't see what's so complicated about it. But you know what I do see? A couple of ingrates. Oh, there's no hot water. Oh, it's weird here. Who set the table? You know what? You don't like it? You can leave and go back to your perfect lives of going out to bars where people don't really dance with the music and guys love talking about themselves. You know who doesn't do that? Me. I don't do that. Never have, never will. I also know how to set the table. I know how to mow the lawn. I know how to... So Elvira starts complaining that there's no lock on the door, and Genevieve is like, stop complaining and go to bed. What's the worst that could happen? Genevieve is out quick because she took a sleeping pill, but Elvira can't sleep, and to make matters worse, some woman comes into the room and starts choking her. And look, when you're a guest staying at someone else's house, there might be some things that you're not used to. Having no hot water. Using candles, getting a little choked. Anyways, this woman starts feeling up Elvira, and then suddenly, I don't know what happens here. I guess she passes out and wakes up to Waldemar apologizing, like, sorry, that was my sister, Elizabeth, and she has mental problems. You should go back to sleep now. Like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. There's no lock on the door, and you can't jam a chair under it because the door opens out. There's no way I'm getting to sleep after that. I mean, I'm in a strange house, there's no lights, and there's a woman walking around getting handsy. No telling what she's gonna do. Be a surprise. Exciting surprise. The next day, Waldemar is like, yeah, sorry about my sister, I guess I should have told you about her. Meanwhile, Genevieve goes wandering around and finds a room with shackles and blood all over the wall. Okay, if I saw that, I'd be like, all right, that's it, we're leaving. I mean, come on, if this guy can't even be bothered to clean the blood off the walls of his sex shack, then what are the bathrooms gonna be like? So Elizabeth comes in and attacks Genevieve, and Wally is like, look, you can't keep attacking people when they come over. This is why we don't have any friends. And Elizabeth is like, she saw the chains, dude. She knows everything. And he's like, oh, she doesn't know shit. I put a lock on the shack now, so we're good. Probably should have done that before, but whatever. The girls take their documents to him so that maybe he can help them find Wandessa. And again, Where the hell did they get these? This looks like it belongs in a museum, and Elvira just keeps it loose in a suitcase with her clothes. So they go out and finally find the grave.
It says, "No one must disturb her rest until the day of the last judgment."
And, that's just a bunch of fancy talk, which basically means feel free to crack this thing open and start poking around inside. So that's exactly what they do, but Elvira leaves because she doesn't want to be around when they open the coffin because that's just gross. And look, there she is, with the cross still in her chest. I guess the legends were true, so why not? Let's start messing around because nothing bad can come of that. Somehow, pulling out the cross cuts Genevieve on the arm pretty bad, and her blood drips down onto the corpse, which, again, I'm sure won't lead to any kind of consequences.
The legend says that if the silver cross were pulled out of her chest, she would regain her power.
I mean, were you trying to bring her back to life? What possible benefit could that bring? Wait, would you think she was going to help you write the essay? Did you want to bring her into class for show and tell? So Wally says they better put things in order and starts shoveling dirt on top of her, which I don't get. I mean, you're now shoveling dirt into the coffin. That's not putting things in order. That's kind of adding insult to injury. I mean, doesn't that defeat the purpose of the coffin? Isn't that why you get it, so that it's not just you covered in dirt? Genevieve starts taking pictures and says, "Ooh, I got some good ones." I guess good ones are pictures of the corpse now covered in dirt. Meanwhile, Elvira is wandering around more ruins when she runs into, I don't know what this guy is, but it's a good thing Wally is nearby because he stabs the guy with the cross, which causes him to spontaneously combust.
We better get back.
Oh, so you're not going to talk about what just transpired? Elvira, you don't have any questions like, what the hell just happened? What was that? Why did that person turn into a cloud of smoke when you stabbed them? How are you not grabbing Genevieve? Like, we gotta get the hell out of here because the spooky shit seems to be ratcheting up like crazy. I mean, seriously, is the essay this important? How much more information do you need? Just make up the rest of it. Who's gonna know? Yeah, we ended up finding the grave, and inside the coffin was just a bunch of bones. The end. Genevieve goes to get a glass of water and sees Wandessa, and then follows her through the dry ice factory, and then suddenly she's outside, and Wandessa just starts biting her, and Genevieve is really into it. This is kind of weird. Elvira just stumbles upon the dead body of Elizabeth, and this just kind of gets lost, almost as if it's not really a big deal. I mean, what the hell happened to her? Genevieve tries to lure Elvira, but Wally scares her away with the cross, and the fact that his sister is dead doesn't seem to come up. They never discuss it. So Wally is like, all right, well, nothing can be done now. The vampires are going to reign supreme. You need to get out of this place.
I can't leave because I love you. I love you with all my heart.
Wait, what? You've known this guy for a total of 24 hours? And not only that, what do you really know about him? Nothing. Other than he owns a really big house but doesn't want to pay for utilities. Wally is like, oh yeah, I guess I better take care of my sister's dead body because, there are some things you shouldn't leave lying around the house. So now it's nighttime and there's a full moon, so Wally starts changing. And you know what? If I was this guy, I would like to think that by that point in my werewolf career, I would have learned some things to make life a little bit easier. Like, how about keeping track of when it's going to be a full moon, writing it down on the calendar, and dressing accordingly. Instead of tight-fitting clothes and button-up shirts, opt for jogging pants. I'm gonna be honest with you, I like wearing jeans that make my ass look good, but being a werewolf means making sacrifices. Any clothes worn on Werewolf Day are most likely going to get ripped up, and I can't be buying new clothes all the time. That would be expensive and a pain in the ass. I hate shopping for new clothes. So if you see me walking around in tearaways, don't even bother asking me to hang out that night. I cannot make plans. Also, carrying around a napkin or a beach towel seems like it could be a good idea as well. I should note that I think the work they did on him to turn him into the werewolf was really well done. So the next day, Wally is like, okay, so the bad news is that I am a werewolf, but the good news is that I only killed one person last night. Apparently, the only thing that can save him is if the person who loves him stabs him in the heart with the cross, and that's why he wanted it so bad in the beginning.
It happened when I was exploring Tibet. I became a werewolf. Elizabeth used to help me by chaining me to the wall anytime there was a full moon.
Which I was never really comfortable with because then she could mess with all my Pokémon cards, so I would have to hide the entire collection. But now that she's dead, I guess I don't have to worry about that. But at the same time, there's nobody to chain me up now. And I don't know what I'm capable of when I'm a werewolf. I mean, what if I trade one of these?
And only love can save you, am I right?
Yeah, something like that. Hey, do me a favor. Could you hold on to this card during the next full moon? You know what? Can you just hold on to all of them? But do not take them out of the plastic sleeves, okay? I cannot stress that enough. This part is kind of funny because Wally is going for a walk and some guy comes out of nowhere and just attacks him.
Why did you attack me?
Everybody hates you.
And see, this is the risk you take being a werewolf. Some people may not be a fan of your late night lifestyle, and that's fine because you don't need their approval. It's much easier to just kill them when you're the werewolf, and there you go, problem solved.
I hate you. You killed my wife and baby!
The guy tries to stab him, but it doesn't work because Wally's badass leather jacket is too thick, and then the guy ends up falling on his own knife. He might have survived if that shirt was made out of leather, but we'll never know. Wally puts on a fresh black shirt, which I imagine he buys in bulk, and goes to the knight's tomb to take care of Wandessa once and for all. But of course the moon comes out, and now we finally get the battle we've all been waiting for. Even though it mostly consists of rolling around on the ground for a bit until Wally bites her, and then she just kind of melts away. And even though, in the end, Elvira stabs him with the cross so that he can be free from the werewolf curse, this movie was then followed up by the sequel, Dr. Jekyll and the Werewolf, which was the 6th film in this series of 12 movies. Now, this movie was apparently very successful at the box office. It went on to become Paul Naschy's most successful film and has widely been credited as the movie that started the boom in Spanish horror films being made in the 1970s. This movie actually has a lot of things that I think were done really well, and also some things that I think were not. For one, the movie has moments where it does a great job at creating a creepy atmosphere. The vampire scenes were shot in slow motion, which really helped with this. Some of the locations work really well and look fantastic, but the movie can also be slow at times, and some of the dialogue is pretty bad. That might be due to an issue translating it to English for the dubbing, I'm not sure. But if you're a big fan of the history of horror films, you might want to check this one out. But that's pretty much it for this one. As usual, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time. Seriously, I have a binder full of these in my room.
Do you have a Pikachu?
Is that a serious question? Elvira has to now sit through probably the most uncomfortable car ride of her entire life.
People are afraid of those who live near the monastery. They think I'm crazy. You don't think I'm crazy, do you? I get angry when people think I'm crazy. I love your long red hair. It's lovely. Don't ever cut it. Why do women cut their hair? Maybe they think it makes them look nicer. But it doesn't. Not at all. You know, I think I could like you.
I guess good ones are pictures of the corpse now covered in dirt. I mean, talk about desecrating a tomb. What more could you possibly do? Start spitting in there? You know, drop trow, squat, and deuce all over it.